Okay, people, I'm in War Room 2. And I got swords in here. I'm clearing off my sewing table as best as I can. And since I'm in here now, because I only have a limited amount of time to, I don't know, people, I can't afford to be having my paperwork mixed up because I have a trial date set for September 19th of 2022 for 10 days in the Supreme Court of Canada and U.S. Minister. Okay? Now, I probably won't get 10 days because I can't afford to pay for that, right? And I'm representing myself, so that puts me in a really bad spot. But as long as I'm alive, I will show up, okay? Now, here's the thing. I don't have to. I want to, people, okay? This is one of my hoarding moments. Fabric, okay? This is beautiful fleece fabric that I can make beautiful little pant set for Amari, okay? Right? Before this bastard, okay, bastard, there, I said it, accuses me of neglecting Amari because, maybe he didn't like the way the pants looked that Amari had on. Because, Amari's growing, right? So, right? Pants are getting shorter, so I have to either buy pants or make pants. Well, technically, I can't really afford to buy pants because I was thinking about my rent, paying bills, right? Don't have to worry about food, but that's all out in the garbage now, or out in the wind. It's been thrown into the wind, right? And, oh, I'm in here by myself, right? Saying, what good do you bring to the table in terms of this Punjabi, I want to say Punjabi, period. Just Punjabi, just broad sweep, okay? Because as soon as I leave this house, I can guarantee you 95% of the time, I'm going to come into a Punjabi landlord that's going to be renting out another house that's somehow connected through that landlord fucking pipeline that, right? Right? If one landlord raises rent to $4,000, the other landlord raises rent to $4,000. And then there's a landlord that will come in and, for example, this house. Oh, yes, that was the other half of the title of this video. This house will always be haunted. Uncle John haunts this house. Shimei haunts this house. There is no justice, people. Sierra haunts this house. I walk with the dead in this house. I've said it before in my videos. Okay? Just because I leave doesn't mean the ghosts do. Especially when there is no justice. And this is why this is called War Room 2, when really it should be a sewing room. But you see, I haven't been able to sew because I've been in the yard for 10 fucking years, okay? Trying to make it a home. Trying to make it a home and make it where I could actually grow food for my family. So, needless to say, I have a lot of fabric I have to catch up on, right? But for whatever reason, this new so-called quote-unquote landlord seems to think that he can just come in here and pillage what he wants with his fucking thugs. With his thugs, people. Throw it in a bin and pretend it all got there in one spot. In terms of nothing was taken as in thievery, which we all know is a bunch of crock. Okay. And why? Because I was out in his fucking yard. His yard now. His yard. Right? So that he can move his family in. His brother. His cousin. His uncle. And their bunch of fucking friends. Eat the blueberries that Andre should be eating. And Amari should be eating. Unless, of course, I take the blueberry trees with me. And depending on where I go, I might. If there's a place for them, yeah. Right? What are they going to do with all the fucking walnut trees that are in the back? Give it to their friends? Be generous? right? Chances are I won't be able to take them all with me, right? What are they going to do? Chop down the warrior tree and never take the time to fucking figure out why it's even a warrior tree? Because they're all fucking cowards themselves? Hell, they don't even want to do a Fasaki because the government said they can't. And they're good little soldiers, so they listen to the fucking government as they run around stabbing everybody else that's not like them in the fucking community and destroy lives. And then they go to their big fancy round tables with 12 chairs around them and they say, oh, what a good deed that we did. And they grovel over the fucking organs that they pillage as the dead bodies are coming in through the healthcare system. And they wheel and deal and make a whole bunch more money so they can go buy a whole bunch more fucking houses. Do they all do it? No. But do they know about it? Yes. Yes. Because if I take this new landlord to court, I won't be showing up with a lawyer because they won't help me get a lawyer for Shemaine. When my landlords, my original landlords, came and said to me 4 months ago, oh, we care about you. We want to help you with your eyes. We'll pay for the better secondary $400 for cataracts so you can see. Don't get the cheap kind. We'll help you with the $400 and get the better kind. I said, well, really what I really need, before I need that, I need help with a lawyer. You know, they got all this fucking money. They own all these fucking houses, right? They built themselves a fucking house before I moved in, I don't know, they were living over there. Next thing you know it, they're building themselves a house, building themselves, people, a house. Over there that they moved into, they own this house, that house, and then they built themselves a fucking house. And they can't help me with a lawyer? I wonder why. Because they're sitting around their fucking tables, wheeling and dealing in body parts. That's why, people. That's why they can afford to raise the rent up from $1,950 to $4,000. But do you honestly think with the amount of shit that I've done in this yard that they're going to settle for $4,000 when they can get $4,500 simply because of what I've done in this fucking yard? Of course they're going to go for the $4,500, but they're not going to tell the new tenants that this house is haunted. It's haunted, people. And when the new tenants move in, even if it's family, right? They're going to be haunted. But when we get to court, I won't be standing there with a lawyer because I'm not Punjabi. Okay? I'm the victim to the Punjabis. My children are the victim to the Punjabis. Okay? Sierra, homeless for 8 fucking years. I wonder why. Right? Any shack is run by a fucking Punjabi out here. Punjabi. It was a crack shack for 1.5 years. That little shack that I had that was turned into a mutiny when I was trying to bring in like a recovery house. It turned into a fucking mutiny and became a shack, people. And the owner was a Punjabi and didn't give a shit. He wouldn't help me to evict people to prevent that from happening. Because he was tearing down the house anyway. And he built himself a new fucking home on that property after he kicked everybody out back into being homeless and tore the house down. Have videos on it, people. Okay? And now it's happening to me. Only they're not tearing down the house. They want to make a profit off of it. That's why they're kicking me out. It's not because I'm a bad person. How can you possibly say I'm a bad person when I gave up 10 years of my fucking life for your rotten, stinking fucking yard? You know how much shit I could have sowed in 10 years, people? A lot of fucking shit. I would have been a different kind of person if I would have been able to sow the things that I used to sow. But no, I invested in my landlord's yard. For several different reasons. And they're taking advantage of all of them, people. Right? And with that kind of attitude, knowing what I know, knowing that it was a Punjabi doctor and a gynecologist of all things with his own team, paid by the public union sector, government, fucking MLAs, in terms of politicians, right? Taxpayers paid for this dude to come from Vancouver, go into the Surrey Memorial Hospital, pretend he was a fucking doctor on call. Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, we know what you did. You cut her open. You took out what the fuck you wanted. I know he took her eggs. I know it, people. And then you put her on a bed after she was embalmed. And you acted like she was alive for as long as you could get away with it to cover your tracks. And you know what this new landlord has to say to me about that? I'm crazy. I said, yeah, okay, crazy enough that I filed a fucking lawsuit and I have a trial date. And now this guy is trying to fucking derail me from that. Why, people? As I take now his ass to court with my swords. He can come in with his fucking tail between his legs, because at the end of the day, they'll never have another fucking Fasaki in all of fucking British Columbia, Canada, for the rest of their all fucking lives. And I hope to hell that they die in their own, I hope to hell that they drown in their own sorrow as they fucking drown in their wealth, because they're giving up their parade to continue to pillage the community so that they can get rich, basically, and buy a few organs in here and there so they can live a little longer and blame and say it was nature that did that, when in fact it's not fucking nature. There's nothing natural about why they live so long. Okay? You got a Punjabi doctor taking out organs and other body parts illegally. Who the hell do you think he's fucking selling it to, people? When you live in a community that's more than 60% fucking Punjabi, with all of them competing as to who is going to be the most richest, and how they don't care how they get there as long as they're rich. That's what I'm thinking about as I'm walking around here, people. What, you all sit around your fucking table with 12 seats, drooling over fucking organs, feeling proud of themselves because they got away with it, people? Right? I go to court with this guy. I show up with no lawyer because I can't get a lawyer to fucking help me. But I'm the victim, but not in this case. I have to represent myself. Doesn't matter where I go. But this guy will probably show up with a fucking lawyer with crying, oh, boo-hoo is me. Let my lawyer speak for me, because he knows how to, he knows how to, what is that called? Jimmy the outcome? You know, throw the judge a little bit of fucking money. Right? It's okay, because he's going to get $4,500 for a month, every month, for as long as he owns this house after he kicks me out. Plus, he's going to make another $3 million when he fucking sells it. Do you see what I'm up against here? Okay? So yeah, this is a war room, but it should be a sewing room. Literally, people. Okay, these people, they don't realize in a lot of ways they ruined my life. They're accusing me of ruining their life and holding them fucking back. No, they never, not once, people, ever offered me anything in terms of tools, nothing when it came to the yard. The only thing that they ever purchased for the yard was a fucking lawnmower. And that was 10 years ago. Right? Everything else that I've spent paying people, men, real fucking men, to help me to do the greenhouse where I couldn't, and the things that I paid men to do, so that those amenities are now here, to which my landlord will capitalize on no matter what. Okay? That's why he's going to be able to get $4,500 versus $4,000 for a fucking old broken down fucking bungalow that they don't like to fix because it's old. Because it's old. Don't want to fix it because it's old. Yeah, okay. How many times did I hear that over the years, people? And I put up with it so that my family could have stability and Andre could go out to the blueberry bush and actually be a fucking kid in the city like the good old days. Right? You know, it's one thing riding in the courtyard in some complex, fighting with a bunch of kids, right? You know, over who's big and bad before you even join a fucking gang, versus growing up, going outside every day and picking fucking blueberries or raspberries or blackberries or plums or grapes. Those are memories that Andre will never, ever lose. And now my landlords are starting to take those memories away from my granddaughter. Amari doesn't understand. Okay, but we're not even going to get on that subject, people. All right? So the Punjabis, they forfeited their Vaisakhi because they're ass-kissing fucking government lovers who know that if they kiss the ass long enough, they're gonna get fucking richer, right? Because they're the ones get all the fucking breaks, and the cops won't do shit about illegal activity, whether it's within drug sales, or whether it's in with running prostitutes, or whether it's in with the corrupt housing market and rent gouging and evicting out innocent families into a housing market where if I can't afford it here, what makes you think I can afford it over there? And if you're that rootless to throw me over there just so that you can fucking raise up the rate in this place by another $500 so that next time that landlord that you forced me to will do the same thing. And in a year and a half from now, this house will rent for $6,000 because nothing stops them, people. Because they have all the money. And they're not satisfied. Absolutely not satisfied. Okay? It was just a matter of time before I was going to leave this house anyway. Amari will outgrow it. But they're so impatient, they can't even wait for fucking that. Right? And as for helping me, how the fuck can you come to me 4 months ago saying you're concerned about my eyesight, telling me that if I lose it, I'll be no good for nothing, and that you're willing to pay for the freaking lenses, but yet at the same time, tell me you won't help me with a fucking lawyer, and then come back 4 months later, kick me in the fucking teeth, and tell me basically to get the fuck out if I can't give you another $1,050 more in terms of, instead of paying $1,950, give us $3,000 and we'll let you stay with the whole house. Otherwise, empty out the fucking basement. You can live upstairs and continue to pay the $2,000 because, you know, they're going to raise the rent on me again, right? So I'll have to pay $2,000 for upstairs, right? And, you know, be their bitch in their fucking yard while I just only dream about sewing, to which, you know, all my fabric is already gone because some of it's like stored downstairs, and who cares, right? Who cares? As long as they're in control and they're benefiting. I'm not staying, people. If that comes to that, I'd never do that. Right? And if they want to throw my shit out in the fucking bin, they're going to wake up the fucking neighborhood with those fucking jars, okay? Literally. Literally. They will wake up the fucking neighborhood. And then they can all go home and talk bad about me after they finish trashing my life. Okay? And then they can move in their uncle, their aunt, their cousin, whoever. It doesn't matter who the fuck they move in. This house will still be haunted. And that's the point of this video. This house will still be haunted. Right? See? After I clear out my table, I'm bringing these out. I'm putting them on my fucking table as a reminder. Do you see that? And my swords. Right? Punjabis, they like to boast that they're good at swords. They're fucking warriors. Yeah, okay. The soldiers. Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. I dare you to have a Vaisakhi, and what you gotta put everybody in line and make them stand and have to get approval before they go through the fucking gate. Don't breathe. Don't breathe. Wow, what a great Vaisakhi that would be. You don't even have the balls to come together and just be you. Too busy behind the scenes plotting and scheming how to capitalize off of a corrupt government that's fucking up society, but yet you're just amassing great wealth. This is my hoarding moment here, people. A fucking 10-year moment where I've never really been able to come in here and do anything, okay? Because what? I've been thinking about my landlord and their yard. My landlords and their yard. Right? Their yard. Trying to make a home for my family. Look at this. Who can sew like this? And you know, I'm going to try and do two things here, but I'm going to probably end up having a nervous breakdown. Seriously. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get a little bit of sewing in before it either ends up in the fucking bin, what's left over, or I fucking pack it up and move. And I'm going to definitely try and get some paperwork in before it's all packed up into fucking boxes, mixed up. And then when I show up to court in September, like I said, the judge will be like, where's your documents? I'll say, well, they're in fucking hell, people. The fucking last landlord I had put me in fucking hell. All the documents are in fucking hell. I haven't had a chance to go back into hell and pull them out. But they're hot. Trust me, when I get them to fucking court, you won't be able to throw me away like my fucking landlord did. Right? Like the judge with Uncle John. Take it to the cops. If I took this to the cops, what do you think the cops would fucking do? Nothing. Oh, go to landlords and tenancy app branch. That's what they're there for. They'll help you. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we know how that works.